In this installment, we're going to be going over the Sunday NBA bet slate for April 7th. Let's get into it. Hey, yo! Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Chef D, and I'm here to bring you the winning ingredients for our April 7th Sunday slate we got going on for NBA bets. But before I deep dive into that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MetsNetChefD. Don't forget about that TikTok at Chef_D91. And don't forget about that Patreon. Currently, we are at the homepage of the YouTube channel. Currently at 3.35 thousand subscribers. The goal is 10K. We're continuing to go forward day by day. I appreciate all the love and support you guys are bringing to this channel. It's a beautiful thing that we're experiencing right now. All right. So if you're already subscribed, continue to do what you're doing. Like and comment. That helps the YouTube algorithm. If you're not subscribed, join the community that we're building right now on YouTube and on Patreon, and hit that subscribe button right this second. All right, let's get into this slate. First game up for the Sunday slate here. So there's going to be no games on Monday. I just found that out. So no games on Monday. There's a little bit of rest, and plus that's the national championship game for the NCAA. That'll be coming to an end. So far, we got Purdue in there. We don't know who's gonna win in that UConn and Alabama game. But let's talk about this first game on Sunday here. Cleveland Cavaliers 46-32 going up against the LA Clippers 49-28. Looking at the current odds here, you have the Clippers as slight favorites here at home at a -175. On the money line, the comeback on the Cleveland Cavaliers are +145. The point spread is at a 4.5. And the over-under is set at 220.5. Public bet percentage here, 87% of the bets, 80% of the money towards the Clippers. For the point spread, 58% of the bets, 56% of the money towards the Clippers to cover. For the total, 91% of the bets and money towards the over 220.5. All right. For the injury report here for the Cleveland Cavaliers, we're waiting on news for Isaac Okoro, and we're waiting on news for Dean Wade. Dean Wade's been out for a while now, over a month, so he's continued to be questionable. Most likely not going to play. Isaac Okoro has an opportunity, but he's definitely questionable as well. For the LA Clippers, no one of importance is injured. We're just waiting on news on Kawhi Leonard. All right, he's been they're just resting him pretty much. All right, so we're waiting on news if Kawhi is going to play in this particular game here. He's missed the last two games, and they've won those last two games. So looking at the matchup between the Clippers and Cavaliers, they played earlier in the season in January. That was a 10-point win by the Cavaliers in Cleveland. That total was at 216. Now this game is here in LA, so we change the scenery. And looking at the trajectory of these two teams, one team is getting turning up right now. They're getting Westbrook back, and they're actually winning games, winning 4 out of the last 5. Cleveland is still in a mess right here, losing 3 out of their last 5 games. So what I'm going to be leaning towards here, I'm going to be going with the hot hand. Okay, hot hand would be the LA Clippers. If we're looking at against the spread numbers, Clips are 17-17 as home favorites, so we're 500. Cavs as away underdogs are 9-11. They're under 500. We're going to be going with Clips in a revenge narrative. I like them on the money line. I'm going to be taking them to cover the spread at a 4.5. I'll feel even better if Kawhi Leonard's going to be okay in this game. So definitely check onto RotoWire. That link is provided down below. See if Kawhi is going to be playing in this game on Sunday. So stay tuned to that news as well. And for the over-under, we're going to go towards the under, all right? For against the spread numbers, the Clippers as home favorites are 14-19 towards the under. And as away underdogs, the Cavs are 8-12 towards the under. All right, so, and that follows the trend. The first game was set at 216. This current spread is at 220.5. Give me the under in this game between these two teams. Next game up, we have the Sacramento Kings 44-33 going against the Brooklyn Nets 30-47. Looking at the current odds, the Sacramento Kings are road favorites here on the money line at a minus 300. At a minus 300 with the Brooklyn Nets on the comeback at a plus 230. The current point spread is at a 7.5 and the total is at 222.5. For the public bet percentage, 86% of the bets, 83% of the money towards the Kings on the money line. For the point spread, 64% of the bets, 65% of the money towards the Kings to cover. And for the total, we have 83% of the bets, 79% of the money towards the over 222.5. All right. Excuse me. For the Kings injury report, same guys that are out: Malik Monk and Kevin Huerter out for the year. For the Brooklyn Nets, we're waiting on news for Cam Johnson and Dennis Smith Jr. Both of those guys are going to be questionable for this game on Sunday. All right. These two teams have already played earlier in the season in December. That was a 13-point win by the Kings there, and that total was 249 here. And the Brooklyn Nets are home in this particular matchup, second and final matchup here. Kings have been struggling their last past couple games. As you can see, lost to the Knicks, lost to Boston. The Brooklyn Nets are on the second game of a back-to-back. Right now, they are playing the Detroit Pistons. They're currently losing by 9 right now with about 6 minutes left. So, second game of a back-to-back. Now they got to go up against the Sacramento Kings, who are a very hungry team right now, trying to keep their position in the playoff race right now. They got a couple teams on their heels right now, so this is a must-win game, especially for the Sacramento Kings. If we're looking at against the spread numbers, as away favorites, the Kings are 9-7. That is over 500. As home underdogs, the Brooklyn Nets are 10-11. That is under 500 here. I'm going to be going with the team that is in a desperation mode here. I like the Kings on the money line at a minus 300. If we're going with the money line, if we're going with the point spread, I'm going to lean towards the Nets. Give me the points here in this particular game environment. I expect if the Nets lose to the Pistons, I expect them to they're going to fight a little bit harder here in this back-to-back scenario. Give me the points in this particular matchup going up against the Sacramento Kings at plus 7.5. I don't trust them to fully cover this number. I expect the Kings to win, but I don't expect them to win by 7.5. All right. For the total, if we're looking at that, we're going to go towards the under 222.5. I get it. All the public is on the over, but if we're looking at against the spread numbers as home underdogs, the over-under is 11-13 towards the under, all right? And for the Kings as away favorites, it's 6-10 towards the under. So I expect a different environment here, more defense in this game, and the under to hit at 222.5. Next game, we have a Western Conference battle here. Houston Rockets, 38-39, going up against the Dallas Mavericks, 47-30. Looking at the current odds right now, we have the Dallas Mavericks as home favorites on the money line at minus 290 with the comeback of the Houston Rockets at a plus 240. The current point spread is at a 226.5. It opened up at 216. It's been bought up 10 points very quickly. So I would hop on that number right now on the over. And for the spread, it is currently at 7.5 for both sides. All right. For the injury report of the Houston Rockets, Amen Thompson is currently probable. Jayshawn Tate is out. For the Dallas Mavericks, we're waiting on news about Luka Doncic, if he's going to play in this game. He's currently questionable. And Maxi Kleber has been upgraded. He's currently questionable as well for this game on Sunday. These two teams have already played 3 times already so far. The season series is towards the Dallas Mavericks 2-1. The first game was a total of 236. The second game was a total of 218. And the third game was a total of 232. All right. So in this particular spot here, I'm going to be going with can't even say they're hungry here, but Houston Rockets technically still have a shot. They still have a shot. It's a miracle. It would need a miracle, absolute miracle. They are currently 4 games behind. If we're looking at standings here, 4 games behind the Golden State Warriors. So I think they're still going to have some fight in them. Not saying that they're going to win this game. All right. But I think 7.5 is a little bit too much for these Dallas Mavericks. We saw in that Golden State Warriors game, They let them come back in the last minute and a half and make that a close environment. We're about odds and the best value here. So give me the plus 7.5 for the Houston Rockets in this game. If we're going with the over-under, I'm going to go towards the over 226 between these two teams. They tend to put up points when they face each other. And if you want to choose the money line, then I would say the money line of the Mavericks, all right, at a minus 290. But the best value at even odds, give me the points of the Houston Rockets here in this spot. Next game, we have the Miami Heat, 43-34, going up against the Indianapolis Pacers here, 44-34. Looking at the current odds right now, this is a pick'em game between the Pacers and the Heat. Tightly contested matchup. You can get the Pacers on the money line at a minus 120, with the money line of the Heat at even odds. For the total is currently at 229.5, and the spread is at a 1.5. That's a pick 'em. Okay. So for the injury report for Miami Heat, they are fully healthy, no injured players as of right now. But for the Indianapolis Pacers, we need to wait on news about Tyrese Halliburton, especially. Okay, if he is out, that changes things a little bit. Here going up against a team in the Miami Heat that are red hot right now. So I need to wait on news about Tyrese Halliburton before you make your decision on this game. But we're going to act like Tyrese is going to play in this game, okay? So these two teams, Miami Heat red hot, winning 4 out of the last 5 games. Pacers solid, winning 3 out of the last 5 games. These two teams have already played twice already. One going to the Heat, one going to the Pacers, and both totals crazy numbers. Both totals were in the 270s. First game was 274. Second game was 273. All right. Something about obviously the Indianapolis Pacers pace, it forces Miami to keep up with them. It doesn't matter if it's in Miami or Indiana. That's how Indiana plays. They fast break everything, chucking threes. And this is good because Miami Heat are healthy. So no excuses here. Heroes back. Terry Rozier, they got everybody. They got the whole cast and crew. So I'm going to be going towards the over 229.5 since we had 2 previous games in the 270s. So give me the over in 229.5. And if Tyrese Halliburton is playing, I'm going to take the Pacers on the money line in this particular spot. Next game up, we have the Portland Trailblazers, currently 21-56, going against the Boston Celtics, 61-16 here. Celtics are huge home favorites here, minus 1,800 on the money line, with the comeback of the Portland Trailblazers at a plus 900. The total right now is set at 219.5. And the spread is at 16.5. It opened up at 17.5, was bought down 1 point to 16.5. For the injury report here, we're waiting on news on Matisse Thybulle. He's currently questionable. Anthony Simons is currently questionable. And Jeremy Grant is going to be out. All right. For the Boston Celtics, we're waiting on news on Jason Tatum. He's questionable. And Jaylen Brown, he's questionable. All right. So stay tuned to news on those two guys. They're still very important to the Boston Celtics, even though the Celtics could just blow them out without them either. But stay tuned to RotoWire and stay up to date with the injury news and the report. All right. These two teams have already played earlier in the season. Well, last month, technically, that was a 22-point win by the Celtics in Portland, and that total was at 220, okay? So what I see here in this particular matchup, I see something very similar in this spot. I'm going to be going towards the under. If we're looking at against the spread numbers, it's very tight, but 18-19 towards the under for the Boston Celtics as home favorites, and as away underdogs, the Portland Trailblazers are 19-20 towards the under. I expect the Boston Celtics to score points, but I don't expect Portland to keep up pace. And we get a similar scenario where we did in their first matchup, which was 121, a big blowout, and then the Portland Trailblazers didn't even reach 100 points. So I expect something similar to that, but obviously under the number 219.5. All right. For the spread, I'm going to be giving out a 9.5. If you feel comfortable going with that 16, go ahead. Go ahead, be my guest. You can be more creative. You could do Boston Celtics first quarter spread. I expect them to blow them out in the first quarter by, they probably set it around like 4.5, 5 points. I'd rather take the first quarter spread. You could take first half spread. You could take first half and full game. Those are all options you can do to get a better number than what you're getting at with that minus 1,800. All right. Or I'm going to be giving out the minus 9.5 for the Boston Celtics. Let's move on to the next game. Oklahoma City Thunder 52-25 going up against the Charlotte Hornets, who are 19-58 here. Looking at the current odds, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder as road favorites here on the money line at a minus 400, with the comeback of the Charlotte Hornets at a plus 300. The total right now is set at 214.5. It opened up at 215, went down 1 point, and the spread is currently at 8.5. For the injury report, a lot of injury news here for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Gordon Hayward, questionable. Jalen Williams, questionable as of right now, and SGA is out. All right, so we're going to get an update on Jalen Williams and Hayward, if they're going to play or not in this game on Sunday. Charlotte Hornets have no issues as of right now. These two teams, Thunder, obviously, they struggling. Yeah, you can say struggling. I mean, they already clinched a playoff berth. They're secure in the top three in the seeding there in the Western Conference, and they've lost 3 games in a row to 76ers, to Boston, and to the Pacers. Majority of those games were blowouts. Okay, for the Hornets, they had a long losing streak, and they just had a big win against the Orlando Magic, 124-115. This is a team here in the Hornets that have nothing to play for, so they're going to continue to play hard each and every day. They have guys that are developing, and Brandon Miller is one of those guys, and he's stepping up, all right? So in the first matchup between the Thunder and the Hornets, that was a blowout win by the Thunder by 20 points. That total was 232. This is the second and final matchup here. So for the best value that we can see here, give me the points of the Charlotte Hornets at plus 8.5, especially with all these question marks. If it's a game that Jalen Williams misses and Gordon Hayward, and you have no SGA, I'm going to be taking a younger, hungrier team here in the Charlotte Hornets that have nothing to play for. Thunder are pretty comfortable where they're at. Of course, they would like a win, but there's no value in the win here at minus 400. I got to find you the value. I like the points here in the Charlotte Hornets at a plus 8.5. And if we're going with the over under 214, I'm going to be leaning towards the over 214 points in this game. Let's move on. Next game up, we have the Chicago Bulls, who are currently 37-40, going up against the Orlando Magic, 45-32. Looking at the current odds, we have the Magic as home favorites at a minus 290 on the money line, with the comeback of the Chicago Bulls at a plus 240. The total is currently at a 210.5, and the spread is at a 7.5 for both sides here. For the injury report, Chicago Bulls, only team with injuries here in this game. Torrey Craig is probable. Kobe White is questionable, and Alex Caruso is questionable. All right, this Jekyll and Hyde team here in the Chicago Bulls, they, as you can see, they've been win game, lose game, win game, lose game. They somehow beat the New York Knicks there with a lucky ejection. I sound a little bitter, I am, but that's okay. Bulls, very up and down team here. Magic, winning 3 out of the last 5 games, had a bad loss on the road against the Charlotte Hornets. That was a lot of revenge narrative in that particular game there. But this is a Magic team coming back home, and they already faced this Bulls team 3 times already, and they've completely dominated them. All right, 3-0 against the Bulls. First game total was 190. Second game total was 200. The third game total was 222, but that went into overtime. Okay, so I'm expecting the Magic to bounce back in this spot here. If we're looking at NBA standings, this is very crucial here for the Orlando Magic. They are literally tied with the New York Knicks. All right, if this is going to be the matchup 4 versus 5, they want to make sure they solidify themselves as the home favorite in that game. All right, this is one of the better teams at home anyway, so they want to make sure they do not fall to that 5 spot, and they actually have the opportunity to move up to the 3 as well. So give me the Orlando Magic to win on the money line. I like that money line at a minus 290. That's a great parlay piece as well. If you're going to take a spread, I'm going to lean towards the Magic covering that 7.5. Magic are one of the strongest teams against the spread in the whole entire league at home. As home favorites, the Magic are 17-16 against the spread. So phenomenal record there, 17-6. For the over-under, I'm going to be leaning towards the under. As you can see, we already had 2 games. One game at 190, one game at 200. And that other game at 222 went into overtime. So these two teams play each other close and low. So give me the under 210 as well. Next game up, Washington Wizards, 15-63, going up against the Toronto Raptors, 24-53. Looking at the current odds, the Raptors on the money line are at a minus 190, with the comeback of the Washington Wizards at a plus 160. For the total, is set at 225.5, and the spread is at 4.5 for both sides. For the injury report for the Washington Wizards, we're waiting on news on Tyus Jones, Kyle Kuzma, and Rashawn Holmes. All those guys are questionable. Marvin Bagley out. Landry Shamet out. Okay. For the Toronto Raptors, we're waiting on news on Gary Trent Jr. and Bruce Brown. Both of those guys are going to be questionable in this spot here. These two teams have already faced 3 times already. The season series is towards the Raptors 2-1. The totals in those games were 218, 234, and 221. And remember, the total for today is at 225. All right, so where we're going to be going towards, I'm going to be going towards the under in the total of 225.5. If we're looking at as home favorites, the Toronto Raptors are 6-11 towards the under as home favorites here. I'm going to be going towards the under in this spot. We had a game at 218 and 221, both of those totals towards the under as well. And if we're going to choose a team, we're going to take the spread here of the Washington Wizards. I don't trust neither one of these teams. Washington Wizards are horrible. Toronto Raptors are horrible. Even with RJ Barrett back, still bad. All right. Plus, you got question marks on Gary Trent Jr. and Bruce Brown. If we're looking at the Washington Wizards, the key factor here, they are 21-15 as away dogs. All right, they 21-15 over 500 against the spread. So give me the plus 4.5 here for the Washington Wizards. I don't trust the Raptors to win. I don't trust the Raptors to cover. So I got to take two uglies here, and I got to choose one that's going to be good. Give me the Washington Wizards here at a plus 4.5 in this spot. Not my favorite bet. I would definitely choose the under. I would lean more towards the under than taking the points for the Wizards. Next up, we have a Western Conference battle here. New Orleans Pelicans, 45-32, going up against the Phoenix Suns, 46-31 here. Looking at the current odds, we have Phoenix Suns as home favorites on the money line at a minus 240, with the comeback of the New Orleans Pelicans at a plus 200. The total right now is at 223.5, and the spread is at 5.5. For the injury report here, Brandon Ingram, he's been out for a while with that knee contusion. We're waiting on news on Zion Williamson. He's currently questionable. And Jose Alvarado, he's currently questionable. The Phoenix Suns, Damian Lee is going to be out of this game. These two teams are in opposite directions here. Pelicans have been struggling, losing 4 out of their last 5 games. And the Suns, on the other hand, are red hot, winning 4 out of their last 5 games. And a big win over the Minnesota Timberwolves in their previous game. In the season series right now, the Suns are 2-0 against the Pelicans, and those 2 games, the total was 232 and 235. So you got a double revenge spot here for the New Orleans Pelicans. All right, what I'm going to be leaning towards in this matchup, if we're looking at the NBA standings, like I said, 4-game losing streak for the Pelicans. The Pelicans are falling, and now they're behind the Phoenix Suns, but only a game back. So this is a very crucial game here for the Pelicans. So I'm going to be giving out the point spread here of the Pelicans. I expect the Pelicans to play tough in this game. Give me the 5.5 points on the road for the Pelicans. I love those points here in this spot. That's a must-win game against the Suns. A bounce-back spot, double revenge spot as well. So plus 5.5, and give me the over 223.5. These two teams have been putting up points in bunches, and like I said, the 2 previous matchups was at 232 and 235. All right. Next game up, we have the New York Knicks here, 45-32, going against the Milwaukee Bucks, 47-30. Looking at the odds here, Milwaukee Bucks, both of these teams are struggling, man. Both of these teams are struggling. Bucks at home as favorites, minus 150 on the money line, with the comeback of the New York Knicks at a plus 130. The total is set at 219.5. at 219.5, and the spread is at 3.5. It opened up at 1.5. It was a pick'em, went up 2 points to 3.5. The total went down 2 points. It opened up at 221. It is down to 219. All right, so injury report here for the New York Knicks. Randall's out for the year. Bojan Bogdanovic is currently questionable. And for the Bucks, we're waiting on news for Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's currently questionable. And Pat Bev, he is currently questionable. Looking at these last five for these two teams here, the Knicks and the Bucks, absolutely putrid. 4 out of the last 5 have been losses for both teams. None of these just bad basketball that we've seen, shockingly, from the Bucks. But now the Knicks are in a little bit of a whirlwind right now. Looking at the season series here, Milwaukee Bucks lead the season series 3-1. This is the 5th and final matchup here. The totals in these games were 215, 268, 241, and 251. So big totals when the Knicks and the Bucks play each other. Here, what I'm going to be leaning towards, I think my favorite bet here, just because they got to stop. They got to stop the bleeding. They have to. And then the next game after the Knicks, they face the Celtics. This is a must-win spot here for the Milwaukee Bucks. Give me the Milwaukee Bucks on the money line. On the money line. We're not playing with the spread. Just give me the win. The way that they've been playing, you don't want to even touch that spread. The Bucks just need a win. Before you face the Celtics, you need this win. If we're looking at the standings, the Cleveland Cavaliers are right behind them, a game and a half. So if they lose this game here, it can get really close here for the Milwaukee Bucks, okay? So I'm going to be taking the Milwaukee Bucks on the money line in this spot. And for the total, are we going to choose the over? I'm going to lean towards the over between these two teams. I expect points to be scored in the bunches, as we've seen in 3 out of the 4 games. 268, 241, 251. We're only getting 221 in this spot. So I'm going to be taking the leeway there. Hopefully, I'll take the 219. It's going down. Hopefully, it goes down even lower. I'm going to be taking the over in this game between the Knicks and the Bucks. Next game up, we have the Philadelphia 76ers, 42-35, going up against the San Antonio Spurs, 19-58. Looking at the current odds right now, we have road favorites here in the Philadelphia 76ers. This is the second game of a back-to-back. Right now, they are blowing out, I believe, the Memphis Grizzlies. Yep, they're blowing out the Memphis Grizzlies by almost 30 points right now. So hopefully some of the starters can get some rest. For the odds, minus 290 on the money line with the comeback of the Spurs at a plus 240. Total is set at 230.5, and the spread has gone up from 6.5 to 7.5. All right, for the injury report as of right now, Tobias Harris questionable, Mo Bamba questionable. For the Spurs, we get positive news on Keldon Johnson. He is probable for this game on Sunday. These two teams have already played earlier in the season. That was a 10-point win by the 76ers. That total was 256 points. All right. Now, these two teams are playing phenomenally right now. 76ers getting back Joel Embiid. This is a team on a mission, and the Spurs are playing tough each and every game. They're playing tough. They had a big win against the Pelicans, and Victor Wembanyama is solidifying his Rookie of the Year award as well. So you're seeing a very motivated young team here in the Spurs. So if we're looking at the standings, the 76ers are trying to continue to move up. They're a game behind the Miami Heat. It's going to adjust once they get the win over the Grizzlies, so that's going to bode well for them. They want to keep climbing, okay? They want to keep climbing up the Eastern Conference here. So what I'm going to be going towards here, give me the points. I like the 76ers to win this game, obviously, but I think 7.5 is a little bit too much, especially the way the Spurs have been playing as of late. So give me the 7.5 for the Spurs. Give me the over 230.5. I think both of these teams go towards the over. If we're looking at away favorites, the 76ers are an 11-6 towards the over. And as home underdogs, the Spurs are 18-14 towards the over as well. So both of these teams trend towards the over. Give me the over 230.5. Next game, we have the Utah Jazz 29-48 going against the Golden State Warriors 42-35. Looking at the current odds, Golden State Warriors on the money line at a minus 525 with the comeback of the Utah Jazz at a plus 380. The total is set at 231.5 and the spread is at 11.5. So that total opened up at 238 and it is falling. So continue to wait and take the under now. Take the under now because I expect this to keep dropping. The reason why I say that is because of the injury report. The injury report here, that might be my favorite bet on this whole slate. Under in this game. Utah Jazz, no John Collins, no Walker Kessler, no Chris Dunn, no Jordan Clarkson, obviously no Lauri Markkanen. For the Golden State Warriors, Curry is getting rested, and we're waiting on news for Jonathan Kuminga, Andrew Wiggins, and Gary Payton II. All those guys are currently questionable. So we're missing a lot of points here on both sides of the ball. That's why this under is dropping fast. Get on it now. Before it gets past the 225 mark. I would hop on it now right this second, right, and take the under. That's the number one play in this game with all these guys missing. If we're looking at the Utah Jazz, they don't care anymore. They're on an 11-game losing streak. They lost their best player. They're sitting everybody. It's not good for the Utah Jazz. This is a perfect spot for the Warriors to get a nice, easy win. Warriors. That's why the Warriors are even resting Steph Curry, because this is pretty much a layup win for the Warriors here. Warriors are red hot, winning 4 of their last 5 games. They just lost to the Mavericks. This is a must win for them. As well. These two teams have already played twice already, and both of those games went towards the Golden State Warriors. The totals in those games were 236 and 277. This is a different environment here with all the injuries on the list. So my favorite play is going to be the under 231, and we're going to give out the minus 9.5 for the Golden State Warriors. I advise you to probably take the first quarter spread and get it over with quickly, or take the first half spread and get that over with quickly. I'm loving a full complete sweep here of the Golden State Warriors to beat the Utah Jazz. Let's move on to the last game. Last but not least, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves, 53-24, going up against the Los Angeles Lakers, 45-33. Looking at the current odds right now, Lakers are home favorites here. This is the second game of a back-to-back for the LA Lakers. They just beat the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now they're going up against Western Conference rival in potential playoff matchup here in the Minnesota Timberwolves. You can get the Lakers at home as favorites, minus 145, with the comeback of the Timberwolves at a plus 125. The total is set at 224.5. It opened up at 228, and the spread is at 3.5 for both sides. For the injury report, pretty much for the Timberwolves, just know Karl-Anthony Towns, obviously he's out for the year. And for the Lakers, we have to wait on news for LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Like I said, it's the second game of a back-to-back. We're not sure if they're going to definitely play in this game, all right? Could rest one, could play one, could sit both, could play both. Just wait on news to reassure yourselves in this particular game, okay? If we're looking at the last couple matchups between these two teams, so far the season series is going towards the Timberwolves 2-1, and the totals in those games have been 229, 214, and 229. Okay. If we're looking at against the spread numbers, so with no rest, the Lakers are 10-3 towards the over. So I like the over here in 224. We had 2 out of the 3 games went over 224.5. That's a positive sign. But the LA Lakers with no rest against the spread, they are 4-10. 4-10 this whole year against the spread with no rest at all. So second game of back-to-back, tend to get tired a little bit and do not play to their full potential, and they're 4-10 this year. I'm going to be leaning towards the Minnesota Timberwolves to cover the spread at plus 3.5. Okay, so give me those 3.5 points, which should be a very tightly contested game here. This has a potential to be in the first round matchup in the playoffs as well. A lot is on this particular game here. The Minnesota Timberwolves want to solidify themselves as the number 1 spot. As you can see, they are literally tied with the Denver Nuggets for that 1 spot. All right, so this is a must-win game for the Timberwolves as well. So that's why I'm going to be taking the point spread plus 3.5 and give me the over 224.5. All right. So thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you comment down below. Let me know if you have any other props, if you have any other suggestions. Do you disagree with any one of my plays? Let me know in that comment section down below. And we could definitely debate, have no problem responding back to you guys. I appreciate all you guys are doing on our run right now. And I'll be back with another video very soon. Remember, there is no basketball games on Monday. We'll be back for Tuesday. All right. Peace out.